out and away we
Bing bang!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Paddock Talk. I am Kyle.
And I'm Scott.
And finally, F1 has returned to Miami, as The Rock would say, Scott.
Cue the old lady from Titanic. It's been 84 years. Oh my god, man. 5 frickin' weeks of just new F1. And we're finally, as you eloquently put it, here for a race weekend. I love it, Kyle.
Yeah, and like you said, Scott, 5 weeks. It's felt like an eternity. F1 left us, but you and me never left the viewers. We've been back here every week since the gap has started in the schedule, and yeah, I'm just ready to see some action back on track. But we do have some news leading up to the Miami GP. We're just going to push to the side for a quick second. Scott, Bahrain is returning as the season opener to F1. Australia is getting bumped back to third. Not just second, but third past Saudi Arabia. Bahrain doesn't their schedule doesn't conflict with Ramadan anymore, so it's taking the starting position on the F1 calendar again.
I like it. I like it as the opening Grand Prix. It was the opener for many years. Or was it the second? Now I can't. Now I'm doubting myself. I know it was the opener for at least a little bit until Melbourne came back. I like Bahrain. They test there for 2 weeks. I would like that to be the first race. I like the track, high downforce, good passing turns. I'm okay with it. And plus, as you said, it doesn't interfere with Ramadan, so they can get Bahrain, Jeddah out of the way and get back to racing instead of mixing schedules to appease the Middle East.
Yeah, like you said, preseason testing being held there, I think is kind of, aside from Ramadan being the main reason that it's the season opener, it just logistically makes sense to ship the cars there and then not ship them to two different places or a different place and then return to Bahrain. So it does just make sense to be the season opener. Also, some more calendar changes. I think you had told me that Spa isn't on the calendar for next year, or it's rotating every year, but Turkey. Turkey's returning. This is a race I've never seen, Scott, at Istanbul Park. So you'll have a little bit to share on this, but I'm excited to just see a first race there for myself personally.
So, yes, Spa is going to be rotating every other year. This is last year. It'll be like full time, and then it rotates with maybe Turkey. There's a couple. I think there's 2 tracks that's rotating, maybe Imola and Spa, and they just rotate. So I think Imola and Spa are rotating, and maybe another track. I'm sure Catalonia is going to be moved at some point because you don't need 2 races in Spain at the moment. I know you have 2 Spanish drivers, but you don't need 2 races in Spain, especially with the street circuit coming out this year. But yes, Spa will be rotating. Istanbul's back. We haven't seen a race in Istanbul since 2020 when Lewis Hamilton tied Michael Schumacher for 7 drivers' championships in a wet weather race. In 2021, it's been off the it's been off the calendar for 5 years. Be 6 years next year, and it hasn't been on the calendar full time since 2011 when Seb Vettel won with a Red Bull. That's how long it's been. Seb in a winning Red Bull. I'm excited for it. It's a nice track. It's very fast. It's got that quadruple turn 8. It's just a 4 apex turn, and you're just pulling 5 Gs through that whole thing. It's such a good track. I really like they added to it. I like the old characteristic tracks coming back into the calendar.
Yeah, now that you mention it, that corner does sound familiar. The 4 Apex corner, but yeah, I'm very excited for that track to return. Moving on to more news next year, Scott. Power units might be going up to a 75% 25% split in favor of the internal combustion engine. How are you feeling about this? They'll be using sustainable fuel. I'm, like I said last episode, just excited for the noise coming from the engine, which is hopefully louder with the more internal combustion engine. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for that as well.
I'm stoked. I really hope this ends up being a reality. The FIA needs to get off their asses and give the fans what they want. They don't want yo-yo racing. They don't want battery management. If they want to watch it, they'll go to Formula E and watch people hit the overtake turn or go to attack mode. Go to the attack mode corner where you take the corner too fast or outside line, and you can get the extra boost. I want to see racing, man. It's F1. I want to see fighter pilots dog fighting on this track. And it's going to be a step in the right direction. I hope the teams and the FIA can work this out and actually make this a reality. And you can bump it up closer and closer to getting to 100% sustainable fuel power unit with no battery.
Oh yeah, and closer to those V8s and V10s that we're so starved for.
Oh my God, that's just music to my ears. That those V10s. I can't do it. You know what? I'm not gonna do it justice. I might as well do it like the guy at Austin about 7 years ago. The no, 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 because I can't do it justice.
That guy in the microphone, the trackside microphone, that's so funny. Uh,
It's classic. It really is, and even people who don't follow Formula One, if they know anything about Formula One, it's that guy finding that microphone and just making it his bitch.
so yeah, that's kind of all the news not surrounding the Miami GP that we kind of got in between last week's show and this one. I guess we'll just move right into the news surrounding Miami that we didn't go over last week. Like you said, there were a lot of changes to qualifying and kind of engine and stuff. I don't know if you want to go through that entire list again. So I'll just suggest people go listen to last week's episode to bump those numbers up a little bit. Um, but for Miami, Racing Bulls is bringing a new yellow summer edition Red Bull livery to the track. Racing Bulls is one of those teams that I find actually brings good one-off liveries to F1, unlike their sister team or like parent team Red Bull, who usually only change like one small thing on the car for their special liveries, it seems like. Which Cadillac kind of did, Scott. They kind of kept the same old or half black, half white livery, but instead of the kind of fading graphics on the side, it's stars and stripes. I like the Cadillac livery, but like I said, it's kind of just one little change compared to Racing Bulls.
Yeah, most viewers that are watching F1, they might not pick it up on the track for Cadillac's livery, but goddamn, you're gonna pick up Racing Bulls. Definitely, I like that yellow. It's that I think summer edition yellow Red Bull they're pushing because I think they did a thing with DJ Khaled marketing it. That car looks sharp. And you forgot about the livery of the other U.S. team. I'm sorry, quote unquote U.S. team Haas. They have a livery change too as well.
I did not see that one.
It's nothing much. They pretty much just added stars and stripes next to the Toyota name. So that's a lot of America next to Toyota right there, Mr.
Yep,
Haas.
yep. You think Cadillac would bring something a little bit more poppy for their first race in the U.S., being the first like true American-based team, but that's okay. The Stars and Stripes will represent.
It's fine. They have two more American races left to go. They can do something different in Austin or different in Vegas.
That is true. Also, Scott, you had mentioned before the show to me, which something I had not heard of, but Checo, I think, had kind of leaked something about the start of the GP on Sunday that the FIA was possibly talking about moving it up just because of the weather in Miami. You were saying there's supposed to be some pretty severe storms, and it would make sense to possibly move the race up or push it back. um, due to torrential rain, just because you don't want another scenario like in 2021 at Spa, where only one lap was completed under a safety car, just due to the rain. And that was actually the shortest F1 race ever. I should have saved that for trivia, but you just don't want another scenario like that, where a race is rained out and only one lap is completed.
Fuck! A trivia question I would have known. Son of a. Damn it. I agree. You have to move it if you can. I'm sure the FIA will have their weather guys, studying the Doppler and making sure. When I looked at the weather, yeah, it's right in the pocket, right about when the race starts to a little after. And I was actually at Spa this past summer. Not a big deal. And it was great, besides the huge torrential downpour that came right at the start of the race, and it was delayed for an hour and a half. Uh, so the FIA can definitely learn from that and say, we can either move it up or wait for the rain to go. I'm sure they want to have clear conditions to give the fans the best possible race. I think it would be smart. If Saturday comes around after the sprint race, they say, that's a 70-80% chance it's going to piss down rain and there's thunder and lightning. You also got to remember, too, there's fans in the stands. If there's any lightning around, you definitely don't want them around. I would say definitely bump it up an hour or two. Give the fans a notice, though. FIA, don't be like a NASCAR thing and just change at the last second and hope they check social media. It'd be a smart thing. I hope the FIA does kind of keep an eye on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With FP1 already being extended, like we kind of mentioned last week, it seems like there could potentially be a lot of sessions altered with this weekend, which might be a little annoying, but yeah, we just don't want another race rained out. But getting into kind of our last bit of news surrounding Miami, and it's kind of one we save for the end because it is the biggest. Obviously, the 5 week break has allowed a lot of teams to work on the cars, Scott. So a lot of teams bring upgrades to Miami and Montreal. Um, which teams do you think are kind of the upgrades are going to work for and not going to work for the one, or even teams to watch their upgrades? I'm kind of eyeballing Red Bull. I know a lot of the upgrades are kind of hard to tell what teams are bringing, but Red Bull has brought in a upside down wing or Macarena wing or whatever you want to call it. So I think Red Bull's kind of a team to look for. Another one I'm kind of looking towards their upgrades is McLaren. They're a team that historically is pretty good at bringing upgrade packages to their cars. They said they're supposed to be kind of doing it in two stages, a big one at Miami and then possibly another big one at Montreal. And then my team, Aston Martin, Scott, they've brought some upgrades to the steering column, which has allegedly removed some of the vibrations. That might have been an older one, but just one they've mentioned again. And then I guess Honda has brought an upgrade to their engine, which might help with some of the issues Aston Martin has been facing. I couldn't find quite what they were, but those are kind of the three teams I have circled for upgrades to watch this weekend and even going into Montreal.
I'm sorry, I had to cut my mic for a second. I almost laughed all over the airways when you said Aston Martin bringing a upgrade to the Grand Prix.
Sorry, I should have said downgrade. They've been bringing downgrades for the past 6 years.
Come on now, it's now but 3 years. It had been six.
It feels like six.
2023 was only 3 years away, man. But yes, you're right. Definitely downgrade. I haven't really seen anything like you did say the Red Bull, the rear wing they're bringing to Miami. Will it work in Miami though? Miami is just a weird track. It's a street course in a parking lot. There's not many huge straights to actually, I would see, have a benefit of the wing. I mean, it's a good testing ground for Montreal because Montreal's got that super back stretch in the two other DRS zones. So if it's a good place to start. It's definitely something different. You got to appease Max to at least show that you're actually trying to get the car better, whether it's going to help or not. With it being in the North American region, normally when we record a podcast, they are already in FP1 or have done FP1. or they've done at least a weekend warm up to where they show some of the upgrades to the cars. I haven't seen really anything specific. You know, McLaren does like to bring upgrades. When Lando won his first race in 2024 in Miami, they brought a significant upgrade package to that car. And ever since that race, they've been a title contender in F1. Because if you look back, 2024, Lando wins. They gradually keep getting better and better and start challenging Max for wins. He just happened to win the first like 7 out of 8 races, and he just had a monster lead. So McLaren's definitely one you got to look for. I really want to see what Cadillac brings. First, as you say, home Grand Prix for them. Do they bring something that's going to help them get closer to the field? Whether it be front wing design, rear wing design, side pod design, something to help them inch closer and closer to the back of the mid pack. I would love to see.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see Cadillac move up in just the order of cars. I'm not going to get into my bets quite yet. There was a bet I was really wanting to take, but I'll get into it a little bit later. It was surrounding Cadillac, but I didn't want to just, continue to pile on them as some of my bets already have. Um, they haven't gone my way, but we'll see coming up this weekend. I think one of the other teams I had seen some upgrades for were might have been Racing Bulls. I think they might only change their mirrors. Like there was one upgrade where it was only the mirrors. It's, small upgrades kind of just everywhere gaining. In F1 though, you're just trying to gain that performance any way you can with these upgrades. And like we had mentioned, it seems like almost every team is bringing upgrades to Miami with such the long break.
Yeah, long break. It's not like the summer break where the team's off for 2 weeks. You can't do any development for 2 weeks. It's go time for 5 weeks. They're gonna take all this time to work on the car, make it the best they can, or maybe screw it up. You never know. Maybe Aston Martin brings the upgrade of firing Lance Stroll and maybe bringing in another driver. Who knows? I think that would be the best upgrade package for that team.
Lance is slowly looking more and more like Julian every day. I don't know if you've seen him with the goatee, but he
I
is looking
did.
more and more like Julian every day. He just doesn't have a drink in
He
his
just
hand when his Aston Martin flips over.
he just needs a drink in his right hands of what is it? A splash of 2 seconds of rum, a splash of Coke. He doesn't have the black muscle shirt and definitely no drink in the right hand.
Hmm. Oh, that's so good.
He's just practicing for when Fernando finally says, I'm done with this. Lawrence, it's either me or your kid. And Big Daddy Lawrence is like, well, son, I gave you the best I can. Get the fuck out. And he just lives in a Halifax trailer park with Ricky Bubbles and Julian.
Oh, that would be so good. Um, Scott, did you have any other news kind of surrounding Miami, or should we move in to my gambling section?
No, I believe we covered everything on our show notes for the news leading up to Miami. So the biggest section of the podcast, Kyle's gambling corner. Take it away, brother.
Yep. So honestly, this 5 week break, I don't know what was harder, not watching F1 or not being able to bet on F1. Um, Again, I still don't have a winning record with my bets, so I'm taking some swings here just to trying to get my luck turned around. Like I said last week, I do have some rumblings going into Miami. I'll get into those, but yeah, I'll just go over my record really quick. Still, 0 bets won, 6 bets lost, and 1 bet void. So, like I say every week that I do my gambling corner, if you're not betting against me, you hate money. But I'll just get right into it. So the first prop bet I'm going to have is another under on classified cars. So it's going to be under 18 and a half classified cars. So I'm expecting at least 3 cars not to finish in Miami. Just again, I guess the last time I did an underbet, no, every car finished besides a crash. So hopefully there's some reliability issues here going into Miami, just with all the upgrades and yeah, I need cars. I need a bet to hit. Second
Well, if
bet.
it does rain, I was gonna say if it does rain in Miami, you may look at that and just go, yeah, I could see that. Close walls, wet track. I mean, that's actually a good bet.
Yeah,
I take that bet.
yeah. I didn't know it was gonna have such severe weather in Miami this weekend when I made that bet. So once you said that, I'm feeling a little bit better about that bet. But the odds on that bet were plus 120. I actually have two drivers to win this weekend. So I am gonna bet Kimmy to win the race at plus 150. This is the first time in the season George hasn't been the favorite in a race. Just because with Kimmy's strong performance at the last couple races, I am gonna stay with the hot hand and bet Kimmy to win plus 150. Another prop bet I'm gonna have is Franco Colapinto Scott to finish in the top 10 at plus 350. He's only finished outside the top 10 once this season, and that was at Australia, where he finished P14. But he finished P10 in China and P7 in Japan. So that was actually a price or a odds boost as well at plus 350. So I think pretty good odds for Colapinto to finish in the top 10, considering he's finished in the top 10 66% this season. So I think that's another solid bet that might hit for me. If you have any thoughts on that one.
I was gonna say the Alpines have looked pretty good. Granted, it's mostly been Pierre, but both Alpines have looked pretty solid at the start of the year. I mean, that's a solid bet. Like, I don't do any betting. I would say it's a solid bet, but if you say it's a solid bet, I'm putting my money on the fucking opposite.
I knew you would. And like I said, the rumblings I had, I'm finally getting to it. Um, Andrea Stella mentioned that McLaren is going to be having a completely different car in Miami. Like I mentioned, the upgrade packages the last couple seasons for McLaren have seemed to work every time they've introduced one. You had mentioned Scott, Miami was the place Lando had won his first GP, so I'm also going to have Lando Norris to win the race at plus 1,000. Those are his odds. Oscar Piastri actually had better odds to win the race than Lando at plus 800. Oscar did perform better at the last race for McLaren, but just the signs are telling me that Lando is going to win again in Miami at plus 1,000. So those are my bets for this weekend. Under 18.5 classified cars, Kimi to win at plus 150, Franco Colapinto to finish in the top 10 at plus 350, and then Lando Norris to win at plus 1,000. Scott.
I like the Lando. Like, if you're gonna bet anything, I would definitely say go with Lando. We've seen the Mercedes have issues getting off the line, especially Kimmy. Lando really loves Miami, and like we said, McLaren loves to bring a nice, juicy upgrade to Miami. I'd take that bet. You know what? I'll take that bet.
Hmm.
Let me put $1 on it. What do I win? What if I put $1 on that? What would I win?
You would win $10.
Son of a bitch. No wonder people get hooked doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Imagine what you could do with that $10. You could bet on Lando
I
again.
could get, or I can put an all of like two 2 gallons worth of gas in my car with $10. I'm sorry. You're Canadian. You're used to $7 a gallon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
$2 $2 a liter.
$2 a liter.
Um,
But
did it feel good to actually talk about gambling? I know it's been a while.
it has. Um, like I said, I don't know what was harder, not watching F1 or not being able to bet on F1, because I needed to bet. I'm not an addict. I just need to do it.
I'm not an addict. I can quit whenever I want.
I can.
I just had the shakes and withdrawals until F1 came back.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Makes sense. All right. Well, now that we got into your Kyle's gambling picks, let's get into the show picks. As you know, we picked the podium driver. We always start with last place because if you ain't first, you're last. Kyle, Who do you have finishing last in the Miami Grand Prix?
So, like I had teased earlier, I did have a bet kind of surrounding Cadillac, and that bet was to be Checo Perez to finish last place in the race. I didn't want to take the bet just because I had taken that one already this season and it bit me in the ass. So I didn't take the bet, but I am going to have Checo finishing last. If he does finish last, I'm going to be quite upset.
Oh. Okay. That's fair. It is a brand new race team. Miami is going to be a tough circuit, especially if it's raining. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to get this fucking pick right one day. I got Lance Stroll finishing last. The Aston Martin's, to quote Nicky Lauda, a shitbox, it's a pig. Until they can prove that they can finish a race consistently. And come on, Fernando is the best driver on that team, and he can outdrive half the drivers on that grid. I'm going to go Lance Stroll.
I like it.
So, Kyle, who do you have finishing third?
I am going to have George Russell finishing third. I think he's just had a string of bad luck recently going back just the last couple race weekends. Um, yeah, I think George is going to finish third here in Miami. Don't have much to say on
Ooh.
him.
Ooh. You know, I wanted to put George in third too as well, but now that you actually said it, I'm not going to do it. I see a Scarlet Ferrari in third place. The headlines say Charles Leclerc finished third for the Miami Grand Prix. I think that both Ferraris have the jump on the starts. I think Miami, if you get ahead, especially if it works out to where it's a dry start, wet finish, you want to be in the lead or close to it. I see Charles Leclerc finishing on the bottom step of the podium.
I like it. I almost had a Ferrari on the bottom step before I put George. I was gonna go with Lewis originally, but moving on to
So who do you have? Yeah, who do you have second?
second, another Mercedes driver. I am gonna pick Kimi. He's had the hot hand recently, like I mentioned earlier. He's performing at his top shape, so I think he's gonna finish second.
Hold on, I had to go run the house to get a beer so I can spit it out
Mhm.
because you don't have a Mercedes driver winning. That's wow,
I do
interesting.
not.
I expected Kimmy. I don't even have Kimmy in my top three. I have
Ooh,
Sir Lewis Hamilton finishing second in the Grand Prix. Like I said, I think both Ferraris are going to be tough, just not tough enough to get to the top spot. And I think Lewis is due for another podium. So I got Sir Lewis Hamilton. Kyle, who do you have winning the Miami Grand Prix?
so I am really wanting my Lando Norris plus 1000 bet to hit, and I felt like the best juju to give myself would be putting Lando at the top of my podium picks. So I am going to have Lando Norris winning this race.
Ooh, whoa, that's a. I thought you were going to go that route. As I was thinking my picks up, I was leaning towards Lando, but that's a good one. Like we said, he won his first race in Miami, and he's always tough at Miami. I, on the other hand, have the other McLaren driver winning the
Mm,
race. I think Oscar breaks out of the slump, and he wins the Miami Grand Prix. He's due. He's just had a shitty year so far. That Mercedes power unit is so good. There's no possible way this can screw him up anymore. I just think with this break, he's got his head on right. All the bad juju is out of his brain, and he's in Iceman Oscar mode, and he wins the Miami Grand Prix.
I like it, Scott. That's yeah, like I mentioned in my bets, I really wanted to put Oscar as well. He is favorited over Lando, but just all the signs are pointing towards Lando this weekend. I like that we did both kind of lean towards McLaren finishing on the top step, though.
Ah, fuck! You said all signs are pointing to Lando. Did I miss the press conference where Zach Brown said we don't have a one and two driver, we have two number ones? as he stares at Oscar, is like, "Yeah, Oscar, you're one of our number one drivers, Oscar. It's
Uh,
okay, Lando. You're a beautiful prince. It's okay, Lando."
As McLaren
That
still
was
tries
mean.
to sign Max.
That was mean. I'm sorry, Lando. You're a good driver. You just don't have that icy cold water running through your veins like Oscar Piastri does. And also, too, yeah, everybody's trying to replace you, Oscar.
Yeah.
Lando's Lando's got a job for life. Come on, but Oscar, yeah, you're expendable. But I was in the line for a championship until stuff started happening with the team that has nothing to do with the team. We had nothing to do. That was on you. But you fucked my pit stop up. That's on you, Oscar. That's not on us.
There's going to be a Twitter post coming from Oscar in the near future just saying, attention, it has come out that I will not be racing for McLaren next season. I have been replaced by Max Verstappen.
I've actually been replaced by Lance Stroll, and I am now the reserve driver for Aston Martin because they finally brought up Felipe Drugovich.
Is my F1 Manager 23 sim just coming into reality? Because these are all the driver moves that have actually happened. Lewis went to Ferrari, Oscar went to Aston Martin, Max went to Mercedes. It's just, I don't know, my F1 Manager save is almost becoming a reality here.
It's like they know, man. I think they do. They have the inside track on this shit. They put it in the algorithms, man. I'm telling you, they know.
That's crazy.
Well, is that all you got for your picks and the show? Actually, yeah, it's this is
Yeah.
actually a normal show where we do picks. I almost forgot how to end a regular show for a second. Is
Yeah,
that all you got?
that is all I had, Scott. I did tease some trivia, but I couldn't find any really good trivia on around here, so that's all I had. It's exciting just to get back into a normal race weekend.
It is. Like I said, it kind of threw me off. I'm used to the last few weeks just breaking down classic races and be like, well, that was the end of the race. Thank you guys for listening. Now we actually have our structures and everything. And I was like, whoa, yeah, we did picks. Now what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands.
Put
Just
your
put
hand
it
down,
down.
Ricky.
And then the car was just put your hands down. Well, if that's all you got, and thank you for not burdening me with another trivia question where I go 0 for 3.
Hmm.
Guys, if you like Kyle making me look like a total jackass with random trivia questions, please tell us to keep going because I'm sure he'll just do it just for the fuck of it. But I thank everybody for listening and interacting on social media this week. On social media has kind of been a little bit light because there's not much going on right now going into the Miami Grand Prix, but we'll definitely be throwing out a bunch of content now that racing starts back up with Miami. Please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We upload pretty much the next day all our podcasts up, so be sure to like, subscribe on YouTube, comment on YouTube. Be sure to download on Apple Pod, Spotify. Leave a comment on any of the social media platforms. What do you like to hear? What don't you like to hear? I'll probably ignore the what do you don't like to hear part, but we still like to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for listening. You guys making this dream come true. As always, I've been Scott.
I've been Kyle.
Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the Miami Grand Prix, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Paddock Talk. Don't forget to like and share the episode and check out Paddock Talk on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord.